Greetings guys, Suilan is here, and welcome to another Warframe Arsenal video. Today we are going to check Akmagnus, Dominator build. As usually, let's start with requirements that you need in order to build Akmagnus. First and the most important, there is no master requirement to build Magnus or Akmagnus, but you need to build 2 Magnus with these materials, and for Akmagnus you need to have 2 Magnus and Organ Cell in order to build it. Comparing Akmagnus versus Magnus, we can clearly see that Akmagnus features higher fire rate, critical chance, status chance and larger magazine, but trades for longer reload speed and higher recoil. Talking about raw stats, Akmagnus is all around great weapon with these following traits, such as hit scan, no bullet travel time, excellent trait for this weapon as it can be used for medium and long range encounters. Good fire rate, Akmagnus is capable of achieving great fire rate with lethal torment and allowing player to unload a lot of damage in a short time. The biggest advantage of owning Akmagnus is that it has 25% critical chance and status chance, allowing player to mode weapon in 2 different waves. Although Akmagnus on paper sounds great, it has one big disadvantage, and it is reload speed. With 3-second reload speed, it is way too long for dual weapon. During those 3 seconds, most of the time you are forced to use cover to save your Warframe, use different weapon to finish your enemies, or use Warframe abilities to survive or deal extra damage. I did mention that Akmagnus has hit scan, but with high recoil, sometimes shots will miss the target if you don't control recoil. It is manageable, and you can use steady hand to reduce high recoil and make sure that all your shots will hit the target. With all being said, how we are going to mod this weapon, how we turn Akmagnus into the Dominator. For Dominator build we are going to use 4 formulas. First 4 mods that we are going to use are Barrel Diffusion, Hornet Strike, Lethal Torrent and finally Pummel for 120% impact damage increase. As I mentioned before, we can mod this weapon in several ways. For Dominator build we are going with strongest and the most damage that we can unload in one clip. Across Grenier, Corpus and Void factions we are going to use these mods: Pistol Gambit, Hydraulic Crosshairs, Sharpened Bullets and Target Cracker. Only for Infested we are going to switch Hydraulic Crosshairs for Expel Infested. After installing modifications and using Akmagnus in combat, how does it feel? It feels great if you receive a critical hit. The point of Dominator build is to utilize critical chance as the main source of increased damage. With selected mods you are able to push the maximum amount of damage that Akmagnus can do. Also, once Hydraulic Crosshairs and Sharpened Bullets are procced, you simply enjoy killing enemies one by one. I would like to point out that for Infested I changed Hydraulic Crosshairs to Expel Infested, just to make sure that the damage without a proc would have a minimum impact. During testing I noticed that it can be quite difficult to hit Infested head and receive a proc due to the amount of enemies that are charging at you. Although for Infested you can't alter your choice and instead use different modifications such as Quick Draw or Stunning Speed to reduce reload speed and increase your weapon constant damage, but for 1 second trade you are paying the price of increased damage on infested enemies. It all depends on your choice, whether you like high damage or mobility of weapon. Few tips on Dominator build that I would suggest to follow. Most of your time your task is to hit an enemy's head in order to receive procs. Once you receive procs, I highly suggest you to keep shooting to enemy's head to keep both procs and receive a huge damage increase. Alternatively, once you receive procs, you can aim to other enemies' body parts for 8 seconds, but keep in the mind that you are constantly have to keep procs on in order to keep high damage. Would I recommend to invest your time in Akmagnus and this build? It depends on your choice, honestly. If you prefer high damage, high critical chance, rewarding for being accurate and variety when it comes to modding Akmagnus, this is a great weapon for you. Although you have to deal with low magazine size, very long reload speed and being punished for not being accurate. In that case, you should try a different type of weapon which suits your playstyle. For me, I'm having a great time using Akmagnus. Sometimes I cannot bear long reload speed, as it is slowing my gameplay time, but once you get used to hitting an enemy's head and play slowly and focused, it is a rewarding experience for using Akmagnus.